What's up? What's up, Tiger Nation? This is Kenny Stubblefield alongside Roman Cleary. Roman, I am, just so you know, I wish I was in UAB. I wish I was in Bartow Arena with you right now, but I am headed back from a quick little family trip on the weekend and head back to Memphis to watch the game. But you are in Bartow Arena right now, aren't you?
Yes, that's where I am. I drove in from this morning. By the way, for those, if you ever find yourself in Bartow, check out the original Pancake House. Solid place.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good stuff.
8 out of 10 or so. Yeah.
8 out of 10, huh? That's more than solid. That's like legit. I'm a.
I know it's not hard to mess up a Pancake House though. It's pretty hard to mess that up.
I don't know, man. You can tell a difference between good pancakes and bad pancakes. Like that's not like Cracker Barrel has fantastic pancakes, I think.
Oh no, bar none. Yeah, no, for sure.
So Roman, obviously the Tigers at 3:00 today face off against the UAB Blazers. I would legitimately say this is probably the matchup that Tiger fans, AAC fans, UAB Blazers fans have been targeting for a while, that this game is going to be a game that will determine a lot. You wrote about it in your pregame, kind of what to expect article. Kind of talk to us about this game and why this game is so important to not only Tiger fans, but also to the Tiger team and UAB, the Blazers.
So this is undoubtedly Memphis's biggest game of the conference season for multiple reasons. One, it's Memphis's best quality opportunity to potentially build a resume. This is going to be a quad 2 opportunity for Memphis on the road here today. But more importantly, if Memphis is able to win this game, it puts itself in a fantastic position with 2 regular season games remaining after this to win the American Athletic Conference regular season title for the first time in program history. Now, this game is really consequential for Memphis to lose, even though it is a quad 2 game, because if UAB wins this, Memphis will enter into a 3-way tie with UAB and North Texas for first place in the AAC. Now, it is important to note that in terms of the conference tournament, at least according to my recent calculations or whatever, like the last time I went through it and went like, okay, what would happen if Memphis loses this game and enters the 3-way tie? Based off of my understanding, Memphis would still hold the advantage in terms of the number 1 overall seed in the American Athletic Conference tournament. But if Memphis wants to win, the outright regular season title, it's definitely in its best interest to win this game here.
Which, if in your coverage and all of our conversations that we've had with Penny Hardaway this season, winning the conference title, the regular season conference title, is a massive goal for him this year. Kind of talk through that with Tiger fans.
Yeah, no, he's talked about that relentlessly throughout the season, I'd say. I think he's probably talked about that more than even making the NCAA tournament this year. It's obviously been the big thing that's eluded him throughout his entire tenure. Now it's gotten to the point where he has his son, Ashton, actually winning a regular season conference title before he does. Ashton and St. Mary's just clinched the WCC regular season title. I think, only a couple of days ago. Memphis has yet to clinch the AAC regular season title, obviously. So this has been a really big goal for Penny. And considering the way that Memphis, started the season and the talent that it has, it would be a pretty disappointing finish for the Tigers to have to even share the conference title with either UAB or North Texas.
So obviously, as the regular season, as the conference, schedule kind of unfolded, one of the things that we noticed and has become true, I think, for most Tiger games in the AAC conference on the road, is that these games have become almost otherworldly experiences for the other schools that are hosting the Tigers. UAB, they've done kind of the same thing this year. As you've been on the campus in Birmingham and have seen, does the energy seem pretty off the charts? Like, is it a kind of a Super Bowl experience down there for them right now?
Well, I mean, I got in here pretty early, so I probably am not going to see like the full view of things. But as I was entering the building about an hour or so ago, I did notice some like tailgating being starting to be set up out there and things like that. It's pretty obvious that UAB is going to be very amped up and showing out for this game. Less than 500 tickets remained. Like I think only like a day or two ago. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a pretty jam-packed arena. It wouldn't shock me if it's completely packed to the brim. This is definitely a massive game for UAB.
So moving into the game, obviously the Tigers play them, and they tip off at about an hour and 23 minutes. What are some of the major storylines? You wrote about this in your article that's on bluffcitymedia.co, but you wrote about a lot of the storylines, some of the storylines that you're looking forward to seeing. Kind of highlight those for those who haven't been able to read that yet, and what you're looking forward to seeing in this game.
Well, the big subplot, I think this one's pretty obvious to a lot of people. It's the individual matchup between Dane Danger and Yaxel Lindeborg. For those who watched the first game between Memphis and UAB in Memphis, you remember Dane kind of embarrassing Yaxel at the start of the game and then pretty much outdoing him throughout that entire matchup as Memphis went on the win by 23. And then in the post-game presser, Dane adds even more fuel to the fire by saying he didn't know who Yaxel was before they started scouting him. And that, he knew Yaxel was good, but he wasn't like AAC preseason player of the year good or whatever. And then Yaxel goes back on Twitter, is like, congrats on the best game of your career, bro. And then Dane's like, lol, bet. So those two have really seemed to start their own kind of individual rivalry outside of the regional feud that kind of is Memphis and UAB. And it is honestly a pretty funny thing to see and cover overall. And Dane completely shut down any of us asking questions about Yaxel after Memphis beat Rice on Wednesday. He was literally like, "Y'all better not ask me about bro. Don't even try me." And before Kirk even opened up questions, Dane made sure to be like, "Nope, no questions about Yaxel. No questions about UAB." Yaxel,
Did anybody?
No one.
Did anybody try to get any questions in? They didn't toe the line at all, just a little bit. Like, yeah, I can understand that. It's interesting because it's these little subplots that we're talking about that are so interesting to this game because, there's always seems to be a bit of an extra intensity around Memphis and UAB just because they've played each other so much and there's so much regional rivalry type of thing. I think it's these little subplots that are so interesting, though, because that I do think. How do you think Yaxel and Dane are going to respond to their kind of back and forth being a part of the storyline in this game?
I think you'll see great effort on both of their parts. They're definitely probably going to be going at each other, pretty hard in this matchup. There was kind of a sense with Dane, I think, by him kind of refusing to even talk about Yaxel at all. There was a certain, I guess, kind of feeling, oh boy, he doesn't have much else to say. All there's left to do is kind of go on the court and see what happens. I think Dane is really looking forward to it, even if he doesn't want to talk about it right now. That tells me he's really amped up for this one for sure, and I'm sure Yaxel is as well.
Yeah, he's got this is almost kind of a get back game for Yaxel, right? Because let's be clear. Dane thoroughly outplayed him in the game in Memphis against UAB earlier this year. Thoroughly.
Yes.
What are some other matchups that you're looking forward to seeing? I know the name value that the UAB has. They have some good players on this team. Like Christian Coleman is a good player. Who are you looking forward to seeing? Like other matchups other than the obvious Dane versus Yaxel matchup. What else are you looking forward to on the court today?
Well, if UAB wants to win this game, its backcourt has to stack up better against PJ Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter than it did in the first matchup. I mean, the big reason why UAB is kind of taking a step back this year, and it's not exactly the same team it was a year ago, is because it lost Eric Gaines and it never really found a replacement for him.
100%.
And because of that, Yaxel has kind of had to play more of a point forward-like position this year instead of just being a true big, which is what he's best suited at. I mean, Yaxel leads UAB in points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, steals per game, and blocks per game. Yaxel is the complete backbone of this team. And Christian Coleman has had to do more of Yaxel's job this year, and he's doing a valiant effort, but he ain't Yaxel Lindeborg. So that's created a bit of an issue for UAB as well. Now, UAB is still just as good of a rebounding team as they were a year ago. That's just going to be the case when you have guys like Lindeborg and Coleman on the floor. But their guard play has to be at about peak level, I'd say, if they really want to hang with Memphis in this one. Alejandro Vasquez had a big game against Wichita State on Thursday. They're probably going to need more of that from him today.
So, who is we always talk about like kind of the key X factors for the Tigers. You mentioned Colby Rogers as your X factor for their progression into the postseason. Like, what if they really want to go far? Colby Rogers is the X factor. Is Colby Rogers the X factor again today, or who is the X factor for you in this game?
I think a lot of this is going to be predicated on the Dane Yaxel matchup, because if Memphis, if in the scenario where Memphis's front court doesn't show up and Yaxel just feasts all day, then the Tigers are really going to find themselves in a lot of trouble. So I think it may just be the front court as a whole to see how they handle Lindeborg and Coleman.
Yeah. Do you think that I know you said in your pregame article that your expectation is the Tigers are going to win this one because of their ability to kind of answer the call on the road in these big time matchups, in these more like definitely more important type matchups, right? Like, is that kind of what you're expecting, that the Tigers from non-conference schedule, the guys, the team that had to really step up on the road and play, against tough teams, do you think that's going to show up today?
I just think about the guys that are on this team. I think about, someone like Tyrese Hunter maybe thinking heading in this game. Someone like, PJ Haggerty and Colby Rogers, who've obviously been big losers in this league before, how much it would likely mean to them to be able to win the conference title and that kind of thing. Memphis knows that it doesn't necessarily, I guess, have to win, but it would be in its absolute best interest to win this game. And again, Memphis doesn't like UAB. They don't. I know Memphis fans are somewhat empathetic towards UAB, but this Memphis team and these Memphis players, they do not like UAB. They made that very obvious in the first game. I think they're going to come out as about as locked in as they've been for the entire conference season, to be honest. But UAB will as well. And plus, with that with the home crowd, I think we'll see a much closer game with Memphis winning.
Yeah. So a close game, but you see Memphis winning. Roman, any other final thoughts before we close this down before from Bartow Arena before the Tigers face off against UAB today?
Yeah. Look, Memphis fans are going to see a big time atmosphere in this one, obviously, for those traveling to Birmingham or those watching on TV. And this is a rivalry, all right? I know Memphis fans like to deny it, but this is a rivalry type game. The Memphis fans who say that UAB isn't a rivalry reminds me a lot of the Tennessee and Ole Miss fans that like to say that Memphis isn't a rivalry. It reminds me a lot of that, honestly. I'm just being honest. Like the whole inferiority big brother complex. Like, oh, just because we're a bigger school, that means you're not a rival, even though we clearly despise you in the way that we would despise a rival, which is clearly how 100% fans feel about UAB. That's just. I
don't understand why that's an issue for people to say. Like, clearly,
it's the same thing. Like, Tennessee and Ole Miss fans clearly care about Memphis as much as Memphis cares about them. But 100%. They will be like, oh, Memphis,
we don't even think about you. We don't even think about you.
Even though they clearly do. They clearly do.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Memphis towards UAB. Memphis, you're not a rival. We don't even think about you. And yet, whenever UAB loses, Twitter blows up, and Memphis fans are just the laughing emojis are everywhere. I mean, come on, guys.
It's okay to admit. It's okay to admit.
Admit that you view UAB as a rival, because that's how you treat them. That's how you treat them on social media and just your general fandom. Just being honest.
And it's okay to do that. I enjoy it. I enjoy the rivalry between UAB and Memphis. It makes for fun environments, man. It's fun games.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely going to be a fun atmosphere here today. Again, I'm expecting it to be about jam-packed to the brim, maybe a few empty seats at the top of the arena. But besides that, it's we're going to probably see a full house here.
Well, Roman, hey, good job getting down there. Enjoy the matchup today, and y'all tune in. Roman will be tweeting from the game. He'll be in Bartow Arena. Watch the game on TV. Is it on ESPN2 today, or is it on?
No, it's a big one, ESPN today.
Oh, it's on ESPN today. Okay, good. So it's on ESPN at 3 p.m. Immediately after the game, tune in. Francis Carlota and I will be will be coming live on Tigers Live, the post-game show. If we can get Roman will be very busy at Bartow Arena. If we can get Roman in, he'll try to jump in, but there's going to be press conferences and all that kind of stuff. So as soon as Roman can get in, he'll get in. But join Francis and I will be in there. And as Timo, our good friend Timo says, we have to put Bell to ass today, and that's what we have to do.
Memphis has to win. That's what they have to do. But, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, brother. Well, hey, enjoy it. We are we're going to jump off this place. Roman, go enjoy the game. Tiger fans, y'all enjoy the game. We'll see you live on Tigers Live after the game on YouTube and X.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Tigers Live.